President Biden is warning Israel to not expand its offensive into Rafah without a credible plan to protect civilians. The area is now the most densely populated region in southern Gaza. Israel announced plans to expand its operation into the city as part of its plan to eliminate Hamas. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby discussed what that could entail for more than 1 million Palestinians that are currently living in Rafah.
It's a small geographical space, the Gaza Strip, period. It's really small down there around Rafah, and you got 1 million to 1.5 million people that are seeking safety. And so any credible plan that could be executable would have to take into account their physical movement, safe movement, as well as proper subsistence for them, food, water, medicine, access to health care, and be able to stay together as family units. So all of that would have to be factored in.
CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now to break this all down. Nancy, I mean, the U.S. has been communicating or trying to tamper down Israel's offensive for these very reasons, but hasn't really succeeded in any large way, in any significant way. So what is the White House actually doing to deter Israel to at least delay these operations?
Well, I'll tell you, Lilia, normally it would be unthinkable that a U.S. president would stand side by side with an Arab leader and basically lecture Israel. But that's exactly what we saw yesterday. President Biden standing there with King Abdullah of Jordan and basically not mincing words, telling Israel that it needs to do a lot more to safeguard civilians in Rafah before launching a ground invasion. Both of those leaders were very emphatic. So that's part of what they're doing, is using the bully pulpit. They've also set this standard for Israel, and you heard Admiral Kirby talking about it just there. The president has said that in order for Israel to launch a ground invasion, which it says it needs to do to rid Rafah of Hamas. The White House isn't disputing the fact that there are Hamas terrorists who are hiding among the population in Rafah. But they say if you're going to go in with a ground invasion, you need to have a credible, executable plan to get the 1.4 million people in harm's way in Rafah out of there. Keep in mind, Lilia, the reason that the population has swollen in Rafah is because several months ago, Israel told those civilians to leave the north and head south. And so those people don't have a lot of options. And what the U.S. is saying is you've got to come up with some kind of plan to move these people, many of whom have already lost or left their homes. And it's hard to imagine how Israel is going to meet that bar. What kinds of infrastructure actually exist in Gaza to move people out and ensure that they have a safe place to go, a roof over their heads, and food and water and the like?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been the case in the past that has been ensured. I guess the other option would be a ceasefire. And right now, the U.S., Israel, Egypt, Qatar are all meeting in Cairo to continue those talks. So are we getting any closer to a deal?
White House officials say that they are. They actually have expressed some optimism. They say they've got a framework for a deal. Yes, Hamas and Israel have been pushing back on various aspects of the deal. But the fact that the CIA director is heading back to the Middle East, White House officials say is a good sign, and they're hopeful that they can actually strike a deal, get both sides to agree sometime soon.
All right, Nancy, thank you so much.
You're welcome.